Audio on the computer, so we're good to go, my friend.
All right.
All right, welcome everyone. Alex and Rufus talk about episode 9. And no, we're not talking about Fall of the Jedi. I can't wait till we're through the single numbers like that, because every time I see the episode, I feel like people are going to, like Star Wars nerds, are going to see, like, ooh, they're talking about episode 7. We're not. We have no interest in talking about that crap right now. We might reference Star Wars, but
What's going on with Star Wars?
nothing at the moment, I hope. People keep telling me to watch Andor, and I haven't seen it yet. So,
Okay, I like Dandor.
Rufus, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
I'm surviving. I'm alive.
We were
It's
briefly
more than dead people can say.
well, always with the dead people. We were briefly discussing the toughness of waiting to hear back on interviews and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm in an IT role. I'm not ashamed to say that I enjoy what I do, but it's tough because when you interview a lot of places, and it's true. It's like fishing. It's the old business thing where it's like you put out 20. It's 25-1. Like you put out 20 applications, you hear back from 5 people, you actually get one interview.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, oh, you 25-1, and the one is getting the job. So, but the last job I was at, I was only there. Oh, like the first day, I knew I had to get something else. It wasn't for me. It was good money, but it was just they basically misrepresented what the role was, and I said this is not going to work out. So I
Mm-hmm.
started interviewing elsewhere, and I actually had to start missing that job during my first week, like taking long lunches and stuff to interview at this other job. And it was like, how much do you how much is it worth the risk to you to get this new job? So,
Mm-hmm.
oh crap, we're gonna get echoes because I don't have my headphones in. So let's I'll keep talking because I won't get echoes until you talk. But
Okay.
I got new headphones this week because my other ones, they kept falling out and they were really bothering me. So otherwise, people who are not listening anyway can just deal with the echoes, and then in post, when we post this later, I can just edit them out because we have those powers. I knew things were going too smooth. Don't worry, guys. By episode 10, that's when it's really going to get cooking. All right, cool. Here we go. Okay, Rufus, can you talk?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I got to
Yeah,
put
I'm here.
son of a biscuit.
I'm a little bit. Let me turn my volume down in my own headphones a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. So you were applying for the job, and then you're sneaking out at lunch to do it, and your
Yeah, there's
boss
not
is
not much else to say besides that. It was just it's sometimes it's worth the risk too, or
yeah.
if it's worth getting the other position or whatever, you have to do those things. You can't always
Yeah,
fake it.
or I've in my life I've been in positions of like applying for multiple positions and then you're like waiting to hear from one, but you got one that you don't like as much,
Mm-hmm.
has made an offer, and it can induce a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Um, Especially like I remember when I applied for my first job out of school. There was definitely a I think I think I put out 60 applications. And actually I made a Sankey diagram of it where I put out like a bunch of applications and then how many got to the first stage interview and then how many got to the second stage and how many got to the offer stage. And it's hard to, once you have an offer to say no, right? Because that's something, sure, it's in hand, you can go work there. But then, if it's not as exciting an offer, compared to what you think you're capable of or whatever, that can be a drag.
Well, it's funny you mention that because the job I was at previously, I had been at 4 years. I loved it. It was going really well, but unfortunately, they were going through a merger. They had a freeze on promotions and all this stuff. I was already overdue one. I had kind of taken on other roles and stuff. So I was
Hmm.
looking passively and then pretty actively for a new role, but I wasn't getting much activity. So the one that came through, it seemed to be a good job, good fit, and great raise. But then you got there and realized that it was not at all what they represented. So even though with the money it wasn't worth it. So it's one of those things where it's a risk to take the leap from what's comfortable, but you have to do it if you
Hmm.
want to, progress sometimes.
Yeah. Um, and there've definitely been times in my life where I've been like, okay, aside from like cost of living increases, I've been at the same salary for 5 years, right?
Hmm.
And then the only way to get a raise is to move.
Yeah.
Um, so
If not move
I
locations, at
think,
least move companies or whatever.
sure. Um, if I mean, yeah, I think in to be fair though, I think I've been pretty lucky to have decent employment most of my life. I went through grad school, which was rough. Um, that's 6 years where you're kind of make so I think I started at 24,000 a year and stayed at 24,000 a year for 6 years,
Oh, jeez.
living in a city,
Yeah.
like trying to make ends meet. And I kind of like did not understand why, like there were other people in my cohort who were like buying houses and getting married and stuff, and I was like, how are these people doing this? I can barely afford to eat.
Yeah.
And like I just kind of like realized later on, okay, okay, their parents were helping.
24,000. I mean, we don't need to dox you, but it was New York State. Uh,
Hmm.
24,000 anywhere in New York State, even outside of the cities or the big city, is not like a livable wage. So it's
Not really. Um, and I say that, and well, first of all, this was like 15 years ago for
even
one thing.
15 years ago, maybe it was borderline, depending. But you're getting roommates and
Um,
stuff. You're definitely having to cut corners on things. So
yeah. Um, and there are people who make less money than that
mm.
and have to make ends meet somehow too, right?
Yeah,
Like, but so I mean, I can complain about it, like there wasn't a lot of money to live on, but there's also people with like the same income who have kids, right? And so with the caveat that there are people who have it worse, it was not a lot of money to live on for a big chunk of my 20s. So
uh,
there's definitely like a
you had benefits being someone without anyone relying on you, which is
yeah. Um, well, to my mind, like that was a big opportunity cost in my life because I didn't feel comfortable like starting a family or getting married or like even seriously dating anyone that could lead to marriage because, I couldn't support that, right?
it's a responsible
So
thought that I think a lot of people don't actually have. They It's true, not true. I mean, I've seen a lot of people where once they have the kid, they figure out a way to save more money or work harder and stuff, or get promotions at work. Maybe work. I mean, I've seen it where when I was working in New York, this was at a retail place, but it was like the young lady like just started and was very bad at her job, but got pregnant and was like a young mother to be, and she immediately got moved to some position off the floor and like was like a manager of some type of retail operation and stuff. So it was like, I wonder how many times someone says, "Ooh, this is a young parent. Like we have to get them like a stable position." I don't know,
mm,
but I'm the same way. I didn't feel comfortable if you, and I think a lot of people don't think about that when they start having them, multiples especially. Good God.
yeah, I mean, we both grew up in Westchester, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think like we were in relatively like middle class to upper middle class lifestyles,
Yeah,
or at least that's what we saw around us.
it depends. I mean, ours. I was thinking back with my parents actually earlier how um, my parents were one of the only people in town in Rybrook that both parents worked.
Hmm.
It was like usually it was one parent was home, if not both parents were home for some of the families I knew. They all belonged to like country clubs and stuff. We never
Hmm.
belonged to a country, so we're definitely upper middle class. But there was we still saw other things there that were a little more upper class than us.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of felt the same way. Like my family inherited a house from my maternal grandfather but there was never really a lot of money.
Mm.
Um, so we definitely there were like times where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to like hold off buying groceries for a week or something or whatever. Or we're
Which
gonna.
probably wasn't common in that town, in your town, your area. Yeah,
I don't
or in
think so.
Westchester in general, probably. Yeah.
Um, I mean, my high school had a lot of kids whose parents were doctors or lawyers, and they went
Mm.
into the to work in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of very big houses, and going over to other kids' houses, there was very stark difference in terms of like how people live, right?
Mm.
Um, but my point being that I think that kind of gives you a sense of like if I'm going to have kids, I want them to at least have the lifestyle I had growing up.
Yeah.
And if I'm not in a position to be able to provide that, then yeah, that would feel bad.
Well, and then you're looking for help from outside means and stuff, and it's like, that's you. The idea is relying on your own. I thought, or
Mm-hmm.
not relying on your own necessarily, but trying to build a family and teach them and stuff. And I don't know. It's teach their own, but I don't feel comfortable thinking about bringing something in until I have enough to,
Mm-hmm.
keep it. um,
And even now, when I'm like, I feel like I should be doing okay, but then like I haven't felt like I could afford to go on vacation
yeah.
ever. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure. Like my parents, the way my dad would afford for us to go on vacation was he would get um, travel magazines to let him write travel articles
Yeah.
for. So he would like pitch them and say, "Okay, if you comp us a hotel and some meals and tickets, we'll write a really positive travel article about Dollywood."
He was like an early influencer.
I guess.
He was proto Instagram. He was I mean I understand, but that's resourceful too though. That's smart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's like my dad being an endodontist. I never had to worry about buying toothpaste growing up. Like he just always got the free fucking samples, and there you go. He
Yeah.
always had
There you
toothpaste in
go.
the house growing up. So hey, that's a
Yeah.
load
Same
off.
thing. Um, yeah. So my dad was very much about like, well, we don't have the money to do this, but let's find a way. Um, so there was, but I mean, regardless, I didn't like inherit the travel writing, I guess, skill set.
Mhm.
Um,
Or need, or rather want to do that. You might have the skills, but you're
yeah, I
applying
mean,
them
I
in a
would
different way.
rather
Yeah.
if I am going to go to a place, I would rather go and like enjoy myself
Yeah.
and not make it into like a job.
Might be the safer way to do it.
Yeah. Um,
It's tough. I mean, that is something that people have said. Like when they go, and you have to be on at all times. It's
hmm.
if you're an influencer or something, because your travel is part of making money. So it's
I
that's
mean, the one
something.
thing
Yeah.
I do, I wouldn't have called him an influencer. One thing I do respond to in that is like clearing out my parents' house. We found a couple of those old articles,
Hmm.
and it brought back these memories of like my dad would write stuff about us kids on the vacation, and it would be like an exaggeration, and I would get really mad that it was like, well, you're saying I went to see Home Alone 2 at the movie theater like 5 times and I went 3 times, and that's not at all the same thing. It's dishonest. You're misrepresenting me in the public
In the public eye,
sphere.
this is gonna come back to
So
haunt you if you ever run for office or something.
yeah, but I'm not. Oh, I'm never going to run for office.
I think you
But
can't at this point. Yeah, I don't know if it would ever. We need a shift in government and politics.
um, so I think, but if you look at like the kids of influencers who like make their kids into what like monetize their kids,
Hmm.
which is not what my dad was doing really, or at least not to that extent, where like the kids are like fighting to not be on camera all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel weird where I see the ones where the family is getting, they're doing the organized stuff, and all the ages, but
Mm.
it's really the mom driving it or the dad driving it. It's
Mm.
like, yeah, maybe the kids should be older, make their own decisions before they get involved in all this. But whatever, it's teach their own.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're selling a lifestyle,
Yeah.
um, where it's like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have, a wife and like 20 acres and a bunch of kids and raise them
Hmm.
off grid, whatever. But then I think there's probably a lot of realities to that you're not seeing.
Oh yeah. What are the difficulties of that type of stuff, and all the times you have to get the kids up to just video when they don't want to and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, kids don't want to be on. I hated getting photographed.
Hmm.
I still kind of do. Um,
I'm
so
sure nowadays it's different because the kids are growing up in an era of all this TikTok and YouTube stuff where we
mm,
didn't have that necessarily. There were still kids at our ages making videos and stuff for their own, whatever. We were making them, I guess, for our comedy and stuff.
mhm.
But yeah, it's weird nowadays where it's almost like that's a common career path we're probably hearing in elementary schools and stuff, and that's scary. That
Yeah,
people want to be content creators and streamers and stuff.
I do kind of remember there was some girl at my high school who did like a voice on a Nickelodeon cartoon or something.
Okay.
Um, and I was like, well, like it was surprising to me that was something you could do.
Yeah.
Like I guess um you had to know the right people or something, but it was
Of
like
course.
just
Yeah.
like I guess something her family was knew the person to talk to get that gig for their kid or something,
We had the girl
or
who moved
audition their
to
kid.
we had a girl who moved to LA in like 3rd or 4th grade because her parents like she was going to become a star or
Hmm.
something and she didn't. But yeah, it's just whatever. I'm trying to think what
And her name
Allie?
was Scarlett Johansson.
No, definitely not. I mean, I would consider her a star of somewhat, but uh, all right, let's shift gears here. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Jim Lovell. He passed away today. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
The commander of Apollo 13, Apollo 8, went to
Mm.
space or 4 times, I believe. I think he has the record holder for space from that group as far as how many times he went up. Um, I mean, circled. I think he has like the longest time in space without landing on the moon. Perhaps I don't know because he
Mm.
did the figure eight around the moon twice. So pretty
Okay.
badass. Lived to 97. So maybe spending all that time in space helped his heart or something. Who knows?
Yeah, well, all the time, fewer people who walked on the moon are still alive. Um,
Okay, it took me a second to figure out that sentence. I thought you said it backwards. As far
no, I mean, we stopped going to the moon, right? And
you
then
think that we actually went, right? You're not one of those people that thinks it's a conspiracy.
yeah, we definitely went.
Okay, good.
Um,
Between that and 9/11, which do you think is a dumber conspiracy theory? That the moon landing was faked, or that 9/11 was an inside job?
Probably the moon landing.
Okay, gotcha.
Like,
Fair enough.
um, I mean, both are kind of dumb conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
I think if you were of a conspiracy mindset, you could probably like find enough stuff with the 9/11 stuff to like convince yourself.
Yeah.
Um, I remember. Did you ever watch the X Files?
Oh yeah. I
It was
wasn't
that
consistent, but
spin-off.
I saw quite a few of the episodes. Go ahead. What spin-off?
Do you remember the spin-off with the lone gunman?
Maybe. What was the name of it?
The lone gunman.
Oh, then no. Sorry.
Okay. Well, so it spun off in like 2001 summer, and it was like the tech guys who helped them out on certain cases got their own like show.
Okay.
Um, and the very first episode of it that aired in like
No.
summer 2001, they avert a plot by the US government to fly a passenger jet into the World Trade Center.
Eesh. Eesh. That's dumb.
Can you guess how many seasons that show
I can't. But
lasted?
that's probably why I didn't hear of it. It probably fell apart immediately. Yeah,
Oh, Sadie, hi.
it's like
Let me
that
see if
movie.
she'll let me pick her up. Oh,
It's like that
nope.
movie Big Trouble that came out. I think it was originally going to come out the week of 9/11, but they had to rewrite it or something because a large part of the plot was of a bomb being on a plane. So they had to like reshoot, and they put it out like a year later because they're like, yeah, people will be cooler about this by now. Um, Good
Oh, yeah,
gods.
and they had to change the Spider-Man
Yeah, I was gonna say the Spider-Man trailer. Yeah.
trailer. Let's say hi to Sadie.
Oh, what's up, Sadie? Oh, did she get a haircut?
Yeah, she's got a summer haircut.
Dude, looking good. Happy pup.
Oh, Sadie, good girl. Yeah.
He has a summer cut too, though. He actually looks like Sadie right now.
I can't see you at all.
Me?
Yeah,
What happened?
just looks black.
Did that just happen, or
No, the whole time.
wait, what? The whole time?
Yeah.
I wish you would have told me. Oh, let me fix that.
Well, they can probably see you in the feed.
Yeah, but I have the wrong video. They can, but they. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I wish you would have told me. I thought I had the right thing selected. I had to rename half the stuff because it just always renames it like audio input, video input.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so we gave a little respect to Jim Lovell. Gave a little crap to the conspiracy. I always laughed at the conspiracy theorists. I mean, in general, because not only was it's kind of offensive almost in a way that the 9/11
Mm-hmm.
one, especially someone. I wasn't in the city, no, but I had a lot of friends that lost people, and uh, I just
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just because of that, but it's when you hear like, well, jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. You don't need to melt something necessarily to make it weaker or to
Mm-hmm.
make it weak enough to bend. And then once you add the
Mm-hmm.
forces of something bending with the weight, and then it's
Well,
I
that's
never thought of it as
famously
a crazy thing. So
the difference between like casting something and forging something.
yeah,
Like a blacksmith will forge, so they'll heat it up until it gets pliable, and they'll or ductile, and they'll smush it, and
yeah,
bend it. But if you're like casting something, you're making it molten, so it's melted.
you're completely
Very different.
liquefying. It's you can form
Yeah.
it to shapes that you cannot hammer it to or whatever.
Hmm.
But anyway, no, I don't want to bring us down with 9/11 talk. We can save that for next month.
Well, I mean, that was a formative event in our high school years, right?
It's probably been the formative event in our lifetime, sadly.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
but yeah, definitely in the high school years. I was a sophomore. You would have been a freshman.
Mhm.
Um,
It was like the first day of school,
it
almost.
was it was our second day, and well, I went to a Catholic high school. We had the opening mass or whatever of the year, so that's what made it eerie because everyone in the school was in the gym.
Mm.
Um, and all of a sudden they started grabbing random people out of the gym and
Mhm.
teachers and students, and we were like, what, and then you saw people crying and freaking out, and it's like, well, okay. Then we go back to our classrooms and they put it on TV, and we saw the second plane hit live.
Mhm.
That was what, because at that point when we were watching, we didn't know what, we assumed it was an accident, a mistake, whatever. I remember asking my guidance counselor, was like, "Is NYU anywhere near this?" Because my brother goes to NYU, and he was like, "Oh no,
Mm.
they're totally nowhere near it." Meanwhile, my brother like had to be evacuated
Mm.
because he was so close to the incident. So the whole thing, but it was just it was wild. What about you guys? So it was your first day of high school, really?
Yeah, I think so, or first or second. It was
It must
pretty.
have been early. It was early, obviously, for everyone.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
early.
because in New York
'Cause
we
it's
start late.
September.
People, yeah,
I
we
was
don't start in
14.
August. Yeah.
Um, I remember it was pretty early in the day when they started having the news reports, right? So I think I was in biology class, and Mr. Earhart like was like, "So I guess you guys have started to hear the news, right?" I was like, "No, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And he was like, so he brought out like one of the like big CRTs on like the cart, the black.
I swear I was about to ask you if they had TVs in every room on like a wall or like a prison style, or if
They
they had to
had
wheel them in. Yeah.
they had wheel TVs,
Hmm.
like they used to,
Yeah.
which people of our age will remember that,
Yeah. It was like an
but probably
exciting
not.
thing when you got the TV in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, is probably not much younger than us and probably not much older than us would recognize it.
It was a very
Um,
specific '90s era, '90s and 2000s school thing. Yeah,
yeah, and maybe a bit in the 80s,
maybe
but
in
it
the
probably
'80s.
wouldn't have
Yeah,
been the same TV.
or they
Um,
probably were using projectors at that point in the '80s still.
maybe.
It doesn't matter. Sorry, go back to your.
Yeah. But yeah, so they wheeled it in, they like put the news on, and like 14-year-old me was not mature enough to
To
like
understand.
be serious about it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Um, so
I can only imagine where this is going.
yeah, and then there were like, because we were close to the city, there were kids in class whose parents worked in the World Trade Center, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think I was probably like, my personality is to make it, where at that time was to make a joke of everything. So I think I was like joking around a bit, or like some kid who would like ask me, I think, like, so what do you think is going on? And I did like the crazy eyes, and I was like, I don't think it's an accident. I think it's terrorism.
Oh Jesus. You were right. Oh no.
Yeah, it's idiot. Okay.
Rufus Atta over here. Um, I made an inappropriate joke also on 9/11. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yours was more just predictive. I don't think it was inappropriate necessarily. But I had a girlfriend at the time, so that night I was on the phone with her, and she asked, and she was like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't have history class on the 191st floor," and she
Mm-hmm.
got really pissed and really upset that I, because to me it was like I didn't understand the concept. I had only been dating her a couple months. I'd never had a girlfriend before.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in my family was like, "How are you feeling? How are you taking this?" Because my family, and back then also in general, people weren't like this as much. But my family were Italians. They weren't like. I don't think they've ever asked me, "How are your feelings? Like, what are you feeling
Mm-hmm.
about this? What are you?" Even on 9/11. So like for her to be like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" It was like, "Yeah, I'm physically all right. I didn't go to school in the
Mm-hmm.
city. I was. We could see the cloud from where we were, which was terrifying because actually to go to her, she lived in Yonkers, which is right outside the city, and
Mm-hmm.
you could see that red cloud for like a week, which was horrifying.
Yeah,
Just
and in
dust and stuff.
retrospect, we probably all should have gotten like a therapy or something.
Yeah, no, in retro, I mean, it
Like,
became like you said, it became the definitive moment of at least our high school. Like it just stuck
mm-hmm.
with everyone. The whole, um, and then
Well, I definitely.
you had some ultra, radicalized people after that. A lot more people in my experience started dressing up in camo and
Mm.
weird shit like that. Even if they didn't want to join the military, they wanted to dress up like it. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, I remember like a year later or 2 years, one of the I would like they were doing like a memorial for like 9/11, and I was like in class, I was saying, why are we even still talking about this? This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, I think I didn't like get how
How
historic
historic
it
of
would
an
be in
event
terms
it
of
was. Yeah.
like how it would affect politics and wars and
The ripple effect from it was larger than anything I think that we've seen, at least in
mhm.
modern history, because of the way it changed opinions on people, the way it led to wars that you can really argue don't need to exist or shouldn't have existed.
Mhm. I remember that.
It's just
I did. I was a
TSA
part of a
has never
group.
found a single terrorist in 25
Mhm.
years. Sorry, go ahead.
Remember we protested on campus, like at my high school, like anyone was going to care about what the high school was
Yeah,
doing. Um, and then there were certain like people on the staff who were like mad at us for protesting,
yeah,
and they were like kind of jerky about it. And it was like, in retrospect, it's like, okay, we were kids though. Like,
yeah. It's an educational. It's a point where they can use that as a teaching moment and not necessarily tell you you're doing right or wrong, but you're kids. Um,
yeah. I mean, I think maybe the teachers might have felt that way, or some of them. But the older I get, the more I realize that most high school teachers are idiots,
there was
or
a
a
big
lot of them are.
Our as again,
Like,
since I was at a Catholic high school, we had a big divide among the teachers
mm,
as far as which who was behind. Because a lot of them were there because they wanted to be there, and a lot of them were there because they sucked at teaching or whatever.
mm.
So it was a big and you could tell which ones did not like the other ones because of Bush and etc. So what were you saying?
Well, no, I mean, I actually should like make a caveat to that, which is I think teaching is a really hard job, and
Sure.
people go into it and they're like underpaid, undertrained. They have to do a lot of like dealing with hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's also like when you're like 14, a 25-year-old seems so old and like knowledgeable
Yeah.
and
Right.
like worldly, right? And then in like, but now it's like, oh, this is a child
A
who's
child
teaching
teaching
other
children.
children,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like all the teachers I remember who were like not who like I remember like saying things that were like hurt my feelings or like doing stuff I didn't wouldn't agree with or whatever. Like in retrospect, it's like, oh, okay, they some of them were pretty young. Like they were people.
Yeah.
Um and like I'm thinking about like some of my science teachers like oh, like there was a point where I was like thinking about something one of my science teachers had done like in high school that made me mad, and then I had the moment of like, well, actually, I'm now a more qualified scientist than they
And that
actually ever
person.
were.
Yeah. It's
So
pretty.
it's like, can I even still be mad at this person?
Yeah. It's it's weird when
Um,
you realize the ages people were like when we're in our 30s now. We realize how old some of our teachers were. Some,
hmm
like you said, I had a lot of teachers that were in their 20s. And again,
hmm
because it's a Catholic school in Westchester, to get a public school job, you need to have some type of resume. So a lot of people use it as a starting point, which is fine. They did a good
hmm
job, and then they earned a job at White Plains or Mamaroneck or something. But it's interesting to just about when you think about what their mentalities were and how you were at 25 in your first job and stuff, and
hmm
and you're supposed to be setting an example for these kids, and I don't know. Um,
Yeah. And I
it's
mean, I do a
tough.
different kind of teaching now. And like now the students are 25 and I'm older and more knowledgeable than them, right?
Yeah,
Um, so it's kind of a weird inversion there. But to me, the 25-year-old students are like you can tell the difference in maturity, like in terms of like how people behave and think and act at
hmm
25 versus 38 or 39,
yeah.
whatever we are. Um,
Well, also at least if
it's
they're
significant.
well, also at least if they're in your type of classroom, they've been filtered down at this point from people who have to be there to kind of want to be there to like really want to be there. And I'm sure there's still
hmm
people that don't 100% give everything, but you typically have whittled it down to people that are more inspired and interested in the subject, which then leads to a better, at least an easier relationship to deal with. I would
Yeah,
think.
I mean it's a mix, of
Yeah.
course. Um, there are definitely people who do it for the wrong reasons, or people who their parents pressured them and that's why they're doing it,
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, but and then there are a lot fewer behavioral issues at
hmm
this stage. I think
Thank God. Yeah.
there've been a few. I've that you can't. I can't talk about students, right?
Oh no, I'm not.
Because
Yeah, I wouldn't. No, I
that's
wouldn't want you to. No,
yeah.
we don't want you getting in trouble.
Um, so I can't tell those stories, but there are people who do make it that far, and then there's still something like not quite ready for
Prime time.
that level of performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
even the mature students at 25, like they're 25. So they're still very, very young.
the
Anyway.
it's well, and again, it's a weird it's weird how time dilates like that because again, when we were younger,
hmm
everything seemed. Now it's like now we're getting to that age where it's like we're getting old, but not too old yet. But
Hmm.
like, like again, these formative people are 25. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's go.
Well, how do you feel about being late 30s? Do you feel like you're still relatively young at heart, or do you feel like you're starting to like change interests, or
No, I feel like I'm
like you're
still.
going to go buy a sports car?
I'm keeping the same interest, the same. If anything, I figure I'm narrowing things down to what I like better, and
Hmm.
spending more time on productive things and stuff. If anything, and it helps to have a job that you like and money coming in and stuff. So,
Hmm.
it's a mixed bag because it's like, would you want to go back to when you're younger to relive that? And it's like, well, but then you have to take away your freedom and your ability to do certain things. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I enjoy the choices I've made, even the good and the bad.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about like wanting to go back to high school or whatever, and I'm like, no, no, that was horrible.
Like, would I have the
Like,
same knowledge I have now, or what? Like,
yeah, like having your same memories or whatever.
yeah, like
And
I don't
it's
know.
like,
That gets messy because then you're like trying to fix things that happen in the future. But I don't want to go to
uh,
class in high school. I don't want to wake up and go to class for 8 hours again. It's like I did that. We're done.
yeah,
We've moved on
and
now.
yeah, and it's also like the world is much smaller, right?
Yeah,
Like, I feel like now the world is big. The world is the whole world. If I, decided to go get on a plane and go to Iceland, I could.
yeah,
I could just decide to. Then they might wonder where I was after a couple weeks, but
yeah. But you don't have to check. You don't have to
I
get
could,
permission
right?
slips signed and stuff. And you're not a
Hmm.
child. Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, if we want to go out for if you want to
And
get a milkshake at night, you can. You don't have to go. Whatever. I don't know.
right, and but I mean, even the smallness of like, I don't like this guy. He's going to be in this class. I'm going to be in class with him again. I'm going to have to see him at school functions. I'm going to have to get along with this person I don't like every day for the next 4 years. And 4 years is forever,
Yeah,
right?
which is yeah, ironic
And
because they're
now four
nothing.
years is like, it's a long time still, but it doesn't feel as long.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's it flies by. I mean, 4 years ago we were after COVID already. 4 years ago we were all getting our shots and stuff by now and
mhm,
starting to move on, quote unquote.
right. So,
All right,
well,
let's.
I mean, that's another like thing I think about with the young people is, um, so for me, COVID was, I worked from home for a while, like not that, didn't feel like it was that long,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually started going back into work, and I wore a mask when I went out for a long time,
Yeah.
and I got the shot when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't feel that disruptive to my life in like
It was a
that big
year
a
of
way.
adulthood among other years of adulthood. It wasn't one of your
Right.
named
But
years,
if you were
sophomore,
like a
junior.
kid in college and the 3 years of your college experience are now online classes, that's a really big deal for you, right?
Yeah.
Like that's huge, informative. And if you were like did that in middle school, like you missed middle school because of
There's
COVID.
we have friends probably. I know I have some that their kids missed kindergarten and like first grade and stuff. Like they had to
Hmm.
do it from home. You wonder the long term effects of things like that. You know, hopefully there's none.
Yeah, I mean
But
there have been people who were homeschooled for forever,
yeah,
and some of them turned out okay.
but I was also homeschooled by choice as opposed to by force, where it's like the kids didn't
Hmm.
understand why they couldn't go out. Or
Hmm.
maybe in the homeschool they do, but again, it's such a smaller percentage of the population. And again, those homeschool kids typically they don't adjust right, or when they come out, they become like they go wild and do drugs and become hookers. So
Yeah, I mean, I think some it depends, right? Like there's some people who homeschool and then their kids get socialized with other homeschoolers.
yeah,
And then there's homeschoolers who like are isolated and don't adjust to society.
exactly, the creeps, the weirdos.
Hmm. Um, so I don't know that we can say that it's a all good or all bad.
No, yeah, like anything else. There's always going to be ups and positives and negatives, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to subject anyone to my school experience, but um,
Again, as much as I didn't like certain things, it's like it got me to where I am now, and I'm happy where I am. happy with
Yeah.
the. I wouldn't want to change that stuff. So
Well, so we're both in our late 30s, unmarried,
yeah,
no kids, right?
yeah.
When you move, do you ever still think about like, okay, if I did settle down now, what would the schools be like? What would the school district? Would it be a good school
I haven't
district?
thought about that. No, I mean I'm aware that I'm rarely in those places with not the good school
Mm-hmm.
districts because they cost more money than I'm willing to pay right now. You have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's not something I'm. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I think about like jobs or when I moved here, even one of my considerations was like, would I be okay with raising my kids here?
Yeah.
Um, and if I think about like, well, what if I move to another job? Then kind of like, well, what are the school districts like?
Hmm.
And I don't know why. I don't have kids. I don't have a girlfriend. Like, so I'm not thinking about having kids right now. So I don't know. It's just,
It's
I
just
guess
it
I
is
always thought
important.
I
It
would.
is important to know. I know in Westchester they had the blue ribbon schools. A lot of schools would try to be proud of that. Or like was it a national presidential blue ribbon school? Some bullshit. But I'd always see the banners and stuff, and that's just a way to charge you higher taxes. I mean, it's really about the teachers and stuff. Who know?
Hmm.
It's I don't know. I'm scared about the idea of having kids and then having to send them to school and hope that the teachers aren't crazy or perverts
I
or
mean, I
any of that
think
stuff.
there's also like a culture thing. Like, I think if the teachers, like, if the other students are very serious about going to college, and
Mm-hmm.
like if enough, there has to be like a certain percentage of the class is going to college for it to be the norm.
Yeah.
Um, like my high school, I think at least 90% of the people went to college.
I know that our school touted an 100% acceptance rate into college.
Right.
I assume most of my classmates either they at least went for a day into college. A lot of
Right.
them did not finish, but they at least
But
went for a day.
it is not the norm for the majority of the country to have
Exactly, the country was
anywhere
very.
near that.
It was strange once we got out of our bubble
Mm-hmm.
to realize that it was not as common for some places to even finish high school, let alone go to college after. So,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
wild to think about to me. It was like there was no option to just drop out of high. I didn't know anyone that dropped out of high school growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least dropped out and just stayed out. I mean, I knew people that dropped out of my high school and went to another one, but not just that just stopped and went and did other things. Like that
Mm-hmm.
just was you didn't do that.
Right. I mean, there were people who moved,
Yeah,
um, and there were people who like went to other schools and stuff. I don't remember anyone getting pregnant in high school. I don't remember anyone like dropping out. Like, I think most people, with like a couple of exceptions, went to college.
yeah,
So that's a very unusual environment, right?
yeah. Compared to most of the country, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we didn't
So
realize because then when that's all you see growing up, and especially the schools around you are basically the same, you don't realize that that's not how things are.
yeah, but I think it probably also leads some people who are not meant to be in college to go to college.
Yeah, because then you feel forced to. Whereas there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with either not going to college, waiting to go, going to community college. Community college got such a bad rap, but I wish I'd gone there for a couple of years. Would have saved money
Hmm.
and learned more what I wanted to do instead of kind of bouncing around and stuff. So yeah,
I think you'd save money. You could take more of the like basic classes before you
yeah.
moved on to advanced stuff.
When
Um,
I
I,
I know a lot of people that went from community college and they got into RIT super easy, whereas
mm,
like and so you basically could have written your way to most colleges just because you did 2 good years at community college. It was as opposed to instead if you go right into college and you just fail a bunch of classes, then it's like then you're screwed.
hmm.
So it's interesting way that in my area growing up it was like or in our area it was like you don't want to go to community colleges for the failures and the kids who can't spell and stuff.
Right.
That's not reality at all. That's
No.
really and that was wrong to have that as a thought and that's it's just that's when you
And
come
it's
from an
actually, I
ugly
would say,
area.
smarter to do a couple years of that and then
Unless
something else.
unless you were 1,000,000% sure what you want to do. But even then, when you're eight, how do you know what you want to do, quote unquote, when you're 18?
Hmm.
You don't even know what things are. Like I like the idea of being a blank.
Right.
Until you do it, you have no idea. So it's really,
So
and plus
this,
you waste a lot of money going into this college system, which is no offense, but I mean the prices they pay are insane.
so here is my first disappointment with RIT of many.
Stop chewing on
Was
things.
before I even got there over the summer. Because I did not know what I wanted to do. I thought, okay, I like engineering, and I got good grades in biology.
Yeah,
So I applied to be an undeclared science
science
major
major. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, science.
or general science exploration or whatever. And they screwed that up and they put me in a liberal arts undeclared major. And like when I got the paperwork for RT, I was like, this is wrong. You have to put me in something else. And we're like, well, but you have to reapply to a different college now.
Yeah.
So there was a whole like I had to reapply after I had already been accepted and sent them money
Mm-hmm.
and stuff because they messed up my paperwork.
Yeah.
And so I already started off on the wrong foot with RIT, like
You know,
bureaucracy before.
a lot of us disliked it, but you always just hated them. That's fine. I get it, but that makes a lot of sense when your first experience with them, because they put you in the wrong college.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I had some like and the other yeah well the other side of that was when on the tour I didn't I guess I didn't understand. I thought you could like go to RIT and then explore a little bit and pick what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'd like engineering. Maybe I can take some engineering classes and then maybe take some biology classes and see what I excel at and do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are different
Crazy. That's
colleges.
crazy talk. Yeah. If that
You,
was
you
if
can't.
in community college you can do that though,
Yeah,
and they're not the
I
same
saw that
quality.
show Community. They took like whole weird, like tons of different kinds of class.
The irony was a lot of the teachers, because I took classes over the summer at MCC, they were the same teachers some of the time
Hmm.
at from RIT to MCC, but you're paying like $200 for the class. It was just
Hmm.
I didn't. It really just shows you how things are, whatever, a bit of a scam. So
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. I think that also says something about RIT probably underpaying people.
yeah, right. That they have to work two fucking jobs.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of academic jobs are on 9-month salaries.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a grant to fund you during those 3 months to do research over the summer,
Hmm.
then they're like, well, what are you doing? You got to go do something, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people supplement that with like going and teaching at a community
And that makes
college or
sense.
summer.
Yeah. Because yeah, that was when I was taking the classes over the summer. So
Mm. Yeah, so I wish I had done like calculus at a community college or something, or
yeah.
um, some of my like non-specific classes.
Some of the ones that you didn't really need to be in the RT lab for, the
Yeah.
specific lab that you were really your specialized ass training. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, let me throw a question at you here, Rufus, because we're talking
Hmm.
about some fun things. But I had some
Fun things like 9/11.
yeah, no, yeah. I figured let's before we end the night, we're coming up on almost an hour now, so we'll be ending soon.
All
I
right.
wanted to ask you, which was a worse Superman reveal, identity reveal, both from the Richard Donner / whatever movies with Christopher Reeve.
Okay.
Lois shooting him with a blank, and him immediately admitting that he was Clark Kent, or him dropping his glasses into a fire, grabbing his glasses out, and then her realizing, oh, he didn't burn himself, so he must be Superman. Which of those
Which one is that from?
they're both from Superman 2, but I think one's from
Okay.
one cut and one's from the other. The non-Donner cut, I believe, is he trips on the rug, which again, he's Superman. The idea that he trips is just
Hmm.
he would have kicked through the thing or float. I don't know, but he trips and he falls into the
But he's
fire.
playing Clark Kent,
Playing
who
Clark
is
Kent.
clumsy.
and his glasses go in the fire, and I guess out of reflex he grabs the glasses, and she's like, "You didn't get burned." And then the other
Mhm.
one is, she's like, "Well, I'm gonna prove," because I think she keeps trying to like prove that he's Clark Kent. Like she's gonna jump off the side of
Mhm.
the what's it called? You know, the falls, the Niagara Falls. So she finally
Mhm.
pulls out a gun and is like, "I'm gonna shoot you to prove you're not your Superman." And she fires a blank at him, which is nothing. Nothing actually hits
Mhm.
him, and he's like, "Okay, Lois, you got me. I am Superman." But it's like, wouldn't he have felt it? Even if he's
Um,
Superman, he should have felt something.
Firing the blank is worse because that makes Lois just completely unhinged. Like you can actually hurt someone firing a blank.
Yeah,
Like I
Brandon
think
Lee
that's what
died
killed
that way. Yeah, Brandon Lee died
Brandon
because
Lee, right?
there was a
Um,
casing stuck in the thing. It's because it still is it's still a concussive, like a blast. It's
there's
just there's nothing in there to fire out. Usually, there's no
right
bullet.
there's still gunpowder
Still
involved,
gunpowder. Yeah.
and the casing could like send shrapnel or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not safe inherently to fire blanks.
Firearms in
Um,
general add an element of
mhm.
danger to any situation.
That's true. I have fired guns recreationally,
Yeah.
but there's rules to it. Like you're not supposed to point them at people.
Yeah, unless you're not supposed to point it at something unless you want to kill that thing. So yeah,
Hmm.
not at people.
The rule is not. Well,
Not
it's
at.
okay if you put a blank in the gun.
Yeah, I guess it's yeah. There are there's exceptions if you can if you've
Boom! You've
gone
been
to the
punked.
if you if you've gone to the carnival warehouse today and you picked up
Hmm.
some blanks
Then
because
where? Okay.
I assume she was a lady in the big city, so her having a gun would not have been crazy. I think she already showed it to Clark probably. If I rewatched the
Hmm.
movies, I could have sworn she did. But to pull it
This
out,
was like the '80s, where
this was
like
like
or
19
'70s,
this was like 1979. Yeah,
right?
1980.
So if you're living in Metropolis in '79, you
You
probably
need a
need
gun. You need a
protection.
pistola.
Mm.
Um, but she pulls it out and he's like, "No, Lois, don't do anything crazy." And I'm thinking, like, all right, cool, but even if you're Superman, does that mean he doesn't have any tactile feel unless it's like a cannonball going off? Like he doesn't like if you just tap
Well,
Superman, he doesn't feel you? Or
I do I do like the depiction of him as I think in one of the cartoons he's talking about like, yeah, the world is cardboard to me. Like
yeah,
I have to be
like
extremely
very
careful all the
delicate. Yeah,
time so I don't like crush everything and break everyone and
yeah.
like so I think it is conceivable in certain versions of Superman that he would just not notice a bullet.
Yeah. I don't. It's I.
So the famous shot from Superman Returns, right, which is meant to be that same continuity,
Yeah, but the eyeball.
is the eyeball, right?
Yeah,
It hits him in the eye, and he's just like, he's fine. He doesn't notice it.
it just crumples. Yeah,
Hmm. So I don't think he would feel it.
that's probably a good point. And he had been get he was so good at acting at that point though. You figure he would have at least gone like, oh, and be like, oh wait, there's nothing ripped here. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I probably am because it's a movie from 45 years ago. But it just I
Or
was
maybe
really
he would
stunned
be like,
that even Donner was like, this is the better way to do it, and it
like,
really wasn't.
well, why isn't he like Lois? What the fuck is wrong with you?
At that point, yeah, that kind of explains why he's more interested in Lana in the third movie. He's like, well, we've already gone down the path with Lois, and she tried to murder me twice, so I think I'm
Yeah,
gonna check out this lady from Smallville who might be a little nicer.
she tried to shoot
She
me
tried
with
to
a
shoot me
gun.
to prove
No,
my
it's
identity.
fine. There's a blank.
Yeah,
There's a blank.
it makes it okay. No big deal. I got it
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
blank store because they sell those to regular people. Um,
Hmm.
what do you
I'm
like?
sure you can find a store that'll sell them to you if
Oh yeah,
you're
sure.
like,
No questions asked. Young
mm,
lady, here you
um,
go. Here's some blanks, young lady, for your pistol.
I
Go
mean,
hold up a bank or something with them. Like,
it's easier to buy real ammunition, but there has to be like a legitimate non-filmmaking use for blanks, right?
well, can't you can make a blank, I guess, by just like pulling out the bullet.
I guess.
If you have the crimping device, because my dad makes his own bullets, and like you
Mm-hmm.
pour the stuff in. So I think I don't know. There's got to be. I mean, there's got to be a way to make your own blanks. Now that I'm thinking of it. So Lois was probably pressing blanks in her apartment one night.
Yeah,
And
she has like the press and
it's
like the thing to
all,
weigh out gunpowder,
and half of it is made out
and
of
she's
lead.
like,
So Clark didn't know what was going on. He
"That's
couldn't
true."
tell. He
Yeah,
was like, "Oh shit." She got him.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
between
So
Clark.
here's a question
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go
for
ahead.
you.
I'm curious. Yeah,
So X-ray vision is blocked by lead,
yeah.
right?
That's what we've been told.
Yeah, that's what we've been told. But what about bismuth?
Bismuth's denser than lead, or what's the?
Similar density. It's also used in radiation shielding in real life. Um,
And they're both naturally occurring elements.
hmm
Hmm.
So would bismuth block X-ray vision?
Maybe it distorts it. Kind of
Hmm
like if you're looking through opaque, if you're looking through clear glass and then opaque glass, they're both glass, but
Okay, so maybe it's not as much as lead,
it's
but maybe a little
it's like
bit.
lead is the thing that really
Okay,
fucks him up. But then other things on the chart, like it's a Gaussian distribution of what he can't
right.
see.
So I think it seems to me that X-ray vision does not actually work by X-rays. Um, there's a couple of comics where like he's using his X-ray vision, and they're like, "Oh, this can only be activated by X-rays," and
Yeah,
Superman is like, "This is like Silver Age stuff."
yeah, of course, yeah,
Um, but still technically canon. He's like, "I've got my X-ray vision," and he like zaps the thing with X-rays.
sure.
So at least in some versions of Superman,
It's
that
definitively
is how it
X-rays. Yeah,
works.
it's
Yeah,
definitively X-ray vision.
yeah. Um,
I used to like seeing those goggles in the when I you get an old comic book and it would have the
mhm.
goggles for sale. I really thought those would work. I never bought them, but I really thought those would work.
I think my dad got them at like an odd job or something at one
Yeah.
point and brought them home.
Did they
And
just come with like a drawing of a naked woman on the other side, or
no,
like
so they have like a hair or something, or like a piece of feather, like taped really close to your eye. So when something's like close to your eye, it creates diffraction
yeah?
like effects. So you kind of see like a weird like
Oh, so it's almost like
out
it
of
is.
focus shape, and so it's supposed to look like bones, I guess, when you're looking at someone and you see this
Huh.
shape.
Okay, that's pretty creative. I figured it was just a static picture, and that's why people hated it. But
Well, you know what sea monkeys are?
the things that you put water
Brine
on and they go,
shrimp.
they're shrimp. Yeah,
Brine shrimp, yeah.
but they're alive once you put the water back on them.
So they like they're dried out
Yeah,
in like eggs, and you put the water on, and it activates them, and they start like living.
yeah, and like a week later they die.
Yeah.
I like the South Park where
Yeah, what the,
he fed them semen and they grew to be like a hyper intelligent, civilization.
I have not seen that.
That's an old one. That's from like 2002. I remember I saw it at summer camp.
Mm.
We were dying laughing because that was back when South Park was classic, and it was it's still funny, but it's like those original seasons were the best. So
Yeah, I never watched it too much. I remember it was considered very transgressive for a period. Like
they went
parents
after
were against kids watching it.
everybody, but originally it was one of the first shows. Like Beavis and Butthead,
Hmm
parents kind of won as far as censoring that because like a kid lit himself on fire, so they were like, he watched Beavis and Butthead. South Park had the same problem where at the beginning because they were saying ass and damn,
Mm.
like oh my god, it was the worst show ever. Once they settled in, it was like the show. They attacked everybody. They went after Christianity. They went after Judaism. They went after Muslims. Like they really didn't.
The
They never picked a side, like which was the
the
good thing.
thing I remember though is like, didn't he like kill someone's parents and feed them to the kid in Chile or something?
But it's meant to be ridiculous. Yeah, it's
Hmm
that the kid slighted him, and as such, to get him back, he had this massive, elaborate plan that plays out over the whole episode that you don't realize you're
hmm
watching play out, and then he feeds the kid his parents, and it's just it's funny. You're not meant to watch that and say I want to go feed it, my kid, whatever.
Okay.
But
Yeah, so
anyway,
there wasn't like a bout of kids murdering parents and feeding them to other
As
kids
far
in
as I don't
Chile.
know, again, yeah, it was like Beavis and Butthead had the kid who lit himself on fire. Other than that, I don't think
Hmm.
South Park had anything that really resulted. If I look it up, I'm sure there's something that people blamed on South Park, but I
Well,
don't
it's
think there was
probably
anything
like,
directly the same as
yeah.
the fire incident. The we'll call him the Vietnam monk.
Well, like they blamed Columbine on Doom,
Yeah.
right? But there's millions of people who have played Doom and never done a Columbine, right?
Well, they did the thing that they did that connected them to Doom. Unfortunately, was they made levels that mirrored
Right.
the school. So Doom got kind of, but it wasn't just Doom that got dragged down. I mean, Scream.
Mm.
They had to change the entirety of the Scream 3 screenplay and all that stuff. Um, Something else right around that time. Maybe it was. It might have been South Park. Something around that time though also had a lot of trouble. A movie or something. It was just they were looking for excuses for two kids being
Hmm.
assholes and doing something bad. It's like those two kids would have done the same thing in the 60s, in the 30s. Now, I don't think they were radicalized by Doom. Um,
I mean, I think the thing is like, I and understand when I say school shootings are rare. It feels like they're happening all the time,
yeah.
and they happen. There's something once a year or something out of thousands of schools, right? So they're rare in the sense that, like, statistically, it is not something that happens very often. So we have maybe on the order of dozens of cases of this pathology that leads to someone doing this.
Yeah.
So in terms of like statistics, it's really hard to study, right? So we can look for commonalities between, these people, but it's really hard to zero in on like, so like scientifically, like what's going wrong with these people? Like why do they think spree violence is going to be the solution for them?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, especially
but
Columbine, where
with
they planned on taking their lives on the way out. How is that a solution? Also, you know.
yeah, um, so to my like way of thinking, it's very rash to go in and be like, I mean, people just want an answer, right?
Yeah.
But it's very very rash to go in and be like, well, they played Doom, or they watched South Park, or they,
Yeah.
what's it the psychology is probably a lot more complex than that.
I mean, there were arguments about Mortal Kombat growing up and
Hmm.
stuff, and I don't. It's just it's always an easy low hanging fruit to blame things on media or game. Media is games is media, movies,
Hmm.
games, whatever people are watching. When in reality, those people are like you said, it's like 1% or less of the people consuming it are having an issue. Is it really the thing they're consuming, or is it just because they are bad apples, so to
Hmm.
speak? So
Or they're have some combination of their home life and genetics
yeah,
and stuff happening at school. That was the other thing, was like people because there was some bullying of those kids, blamed bullying as the cause of.
yeah.
And but it's turned out there've been a lot of these instances where like the kids were the bullies, or they were not heavily bullied.
I
And so it's just like,
I wasn't there, but it doesn't seem like they were bullied so much as like just in high school there are just some kids that are popular and
mhm,
they're on the sports teams. They all hang out. They go to parties together, and then there are some that are more on the outside. I don't think that it didn't sound like these guys were getting wedgies every day
mhm,
and stuff. It just seemed like they were kind of off on their own. The reports from other kids were that they were quiet or they were still normal, or but they didn't really jump out at anyone until it happened. So
yeah. And
um,
even then, like when you think about like what it means to be popular, I think it took me a while to realize that like people invite you to stuff if you invite them to stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Like if you don't make an effort to go hang out with people
You got to
and
put
just like
yourself out
expect
there.
them to show up, like you're not going to be popular.
Yeah,
Because I mean, not that I ever like pursued that, but and I'm not saying that every kid who feels unpopular, it's their own fault. I'm just saying like these idiots in particular Like,
Well, you have to put yourself in position, even if it doesn't work out. You at least
hmm
have to put yourself in position. So, like you said, inviting people out or coming up with ideas, not just hoping that people invite you
hmm
out. But these two kids just, I mean, they sounded like fuck ups. They didn't sound socially adjusted. They didn't sound like they had parents who were involved enough in their lives. Unfortunately, I mean, because when it's kids, you really have to look to the parents. I'm sorry, it's just you're not fully formed yet. You're getting your ideas from somewhere of what's right and wrong. You're
hmm
getting, and it's just you gotta. I don't know. It was sad that it happened, and like you said, it's such a small percentage. It's almost like the plane crashes and stuff. It's like planes are
hmm
like 99.9% they're the safest way to travel, but unfortunately, when one does go down, it becomes big news because it's
Well,
horrific.
it's sad that it keeps happening too,
Yeah. So,
because we haven't figured out how to like stop it, right?
yeah. All right. Let's bring the mood up for a quick second
Um,
before we end here.
well,
Back.
I have an advertisement.
Oh well, before that too. Let me get to this. Let's end with the advertisement. We'll do plugs at
All
the
right.
end. Okay. As far as we were just talking about secret identities, which way do you like Batman's secret identity better? Where he has people in his life like Lucius Fox, obviously Alfred, potentially Jim Gordon that know him or that know who he is? Do you like it better when it's literally just him and Alfred? How do you? Which one do you?
Mm. I think there's something to be said for the Bat family,
Mhm.
where it's like in the later comics they played that up a little bit, where
Batman Incorporated and stuff.
it was Batman Incorporated, but then there's also like the various Robins, Nightwing, Red Robin,
Hmm.
Damian, Batgirl, um, Cassandra Cain.
Yeah,
Like there's a whole Stephanie something.
you've named all the ones I know. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different people in the Bat family.
yeah,
We're all kind of like reluctantly dragging him into a paternal role.
yeah,
So there's something to be said for that. But I feel like the classic Batman setup is he's on his own, and the only person who knows is Alfred. Um, and they keep going back to that because it works really well.
yeah,
And we have not seen a lot of modern takes on Robin,
yeah.
just because the premise of
Him having a ward
him having a ward who he takes crime fighting with him is just very hard to
is
like
flagrantly irresponsible.
stomach. Flagrantly irresponsible. Yeah. Well, that's one of the recent DC movies. Is they were doing cartoon movies. Is they were doing like a multiverse thing, and this Bat family's Batman has died, and then there's a Batman who never had a Bat family, and like they meet each other, and Nightwing is like, yeah, you took me in and raised me and taught me to fight crime, and Tim Drake is there, and he's saying the same thing, and Red Hood is there, and Batman's like, well, that sounds extremely irresponsible.
Yeah, it's like, why would I have done that? What was my reasoning?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The reason I was just curious because growing up I always liked the idea best that nobody knew who he was, except for
Mm-hmm.
Alfred, obviously. Just nobody could put it
And Harriet.
together. Haha. Wait, I said Alfred. You said
Alfred and Aunt Harriet lived at the house
who the hell's Aunt Harriet?
from the '60s show.
Oh God. Oh no, God. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Because they
Yes.
decided it was
Yes.
too untoward
For him to be
for
alone. Yes.
for there not to be a woman in the house.
Yes, he had
So
to. They
it was Dick Grayson's Aunt Harriet,
They slept
who
in
didn't
separate
adopt
beds,
him.
I'm sure, though. So,
Mm.
but no, I always grew up growing up like that. But I really enjoyed the way they did it with Morgan Freeman in, and Lucius Fox was a character I was not familiar with from the comics
hmm
because when he appeared in the comics, I think by the time I saw him, like in Hush, um, he was just established. Like there was no introduction. He
hmm
was just someone that Batman knew. So the way that in the movies, especially with Morgan Freeman, really, it was cool, especially because it explained how he got his outfits and stuff, and
hmm
it wasn't just him doing it on his own, magically getting these Chinese companies to send him a bat symbol that he could attach to a different Chinese company's bat chest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always kind of
Well,
like that. But
there was an episode of Batman the Animated Series where there was like the mechanic who built the Batmobile for him.
oh yeah, you had to
I
like bring him in for
remember.
help or something.
Yeah. So I think in every version, like there are versions though of it of like he makes everything himself,
Yeah. Well, in
and I
Batman
or most of the
Returns,
stuff
he's
himself.
repairing the Batmobile himself.
Hmm.
Um,
And like the newest version, like the Batmobile is like just a sports car basically.
it's the most realistic Batmobile we've seen.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Like it's like a very high performance vehicle,
yeah.
but it's not covered in like 1,000 pounds of fiberglass.
It basically looks like
And
a demo derby car, like a demolition.
hmm
It could go into a demo derby or a race. It has like an engine,
hmm
but it could also take damage. So,
and it has like a really nice suspension and stuff. And
yeah,
so you're
it's
like, okay,
impressive.
I buy that he's taking this into combat with him.
Yeah, and that he
Um,
can also fix it himself. It's not
hmm
space age materials attached to this car. That where is he machining this stuff from? It's like, oh, it's stuff that he found and was able to rip off of
hmm
another thing. So
Or he could buy like a kit car, right?
yeah,
Um, and like put it together himself, or hire someone to build it for him, and then he spray paints it black.
and people be none the wiser. Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
it's not something with a massive fin and a
Mhm.
jet engine on the back.
Yeah. I mean, I like both of those. I do like the version of Batman who does stuff himself, with the kind of the caveat that like it gets a little bit like he a little ridiculous. He could not do every single like he
Yeah,
could not make every suit for himself,
yeah,
even if Alfred sews it in some versions.
yeah,
He could not make the suits and the Batmobile and the Batcomputer and like all the gadgets, the grapnel gun, and find time for crime fighting and be on the board of Wayne Industries and date, and it's a lot
he
for
would be able to sleep.
for
And the
one
machining of those
Batman.
items, like the grapnel gun and stuff, like that's just I don't. What does he have? I
Hmm.
know he's Bruce Wayne, but I did like in Batman Begins when they showed that the helmet that they were building into the cowl. It's like, well, they used the raw materials. It's brittle. But don't worry,
Hmm.
we have another 1,000 coming. It's like, so at least they were showing the trials and tribulations of coming up with this shit when they're trying, can't make
Yeah,
it yourself. So I'll always like that.
yeah. So nowadays they would do PCB way
That's probably
and
yeah
show up sponsor Alex's podcast. Um,
all right, cool. So Rufus, I've heard that you have a little writing.
oh yeah,
Let's
I have
do you have any plugs?
a thing to plug. This is out in about a month. Critical thinking for medical and graduate students. It's a little book from MIT Press. It has several words inside of it,
Do you have an
which
Amazon
if
link?
you um
Or
yeah, there's an Amazon link to pre-order.
you let me know where you want the link, and I'll put it in the description of the
Uh,
video. And then if anyone's interested, you guys can check it out. But go ahead. What were
all
you
right,
saying?
I'll text that to you. Um, so this is a book about critical thinking. And it's meant for people in medical and graduate school, but it's not limited to people in medical and graduate school. It's for anyone.
Well,
So
critical
it,
thinking is
it
something we
uses some
lack right now.
examples. Pardon?
Critical thinking is something we lack as a people right now. So I think anyone should read it.
Hmm. So I'm all about spreading critical thinking to people. So some of the chapter titles to give you a sense of
Yeah, please.
what's going on here. Uh, Chapter one is how do we know what's true? So it's about epistemology, the social dimension of science, bias, lies you tell yourself, unraveling reason, logical fallacies and rhetorical fallacies, cultivating competence, expertise, self-assessment, and professionalism, thinking with numbers, probability in science and medicine, from curious to hypothesis.
This is all chapter one.
These are each of these is a different chapter.
I'm just messing. I was hoping
Uh,
so. If not,
Statistics,
oh my god.
science, conscience, ethics in science and medicine, dangerous deviations, medical and scientific misconduct, the science of deception, pseudoscience and alternative medicine, reading the literature, hidden curriculum, How to Write Scientifically, A Blueprint for Learning, How to Prepare for Class, Bloom's Taxonomy and Learning Objectives, Test Talk, How Exams Work, Academic Toolbox, Study Strategies, Time Management, and Group Dynamics, The Art of Information Juggling, and Grow Through Feedback, Evaluative Judgment.
How long were you writing this for?
Um, so this started as a class I taught for our one-year master's program in critical thinking. And then I decided I wanted to develop it into a book. So there's the time developing the sessions for the class, and then there's developing discussions because it was a discussion-based class. So there's like handouts and readings and things, and then developing each of those into a chapter.
Oh, okay, wow.
So then that took like a year of writing, and then I'm doing other things, not writing all day every day.
You're not just a writer, yeah.
But the peer review process was a bear because you submit the proposal, and then they say yay or nay, and then you write it, and then we had a hard time finding reviewers, and then one of the reviewers in the middle was a guy whose feedback was that we had an anti-acupuncture bias, which is not something I came across in my research for the chapter on bias. Was anti-acupuncture bias.
Anti-acupuncture.
So he was very critical. He did not like that we referenced an academic paper called On Bullshit, which is about the idea that some people are not liars because they don't care if what they're saying is the truth. They're bullshitters, so they're making stuff up and they don't care if it's true or not, just if it's expedient. And that's an extremely well cited philosophy paper. It has like 3,000 citations or something.
Oh wow.
So he thought it was unprofessional to reference one of the most referenced papers in academic philosophy. So that reviewer threw us off. I think he was mad that I was critical of acupuncture in the book.
It's the same.
So, same guy. But once it was through a review, so from the having the idea to now being published, I submitted the initial proposal in 2021.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So was this your longest project? Because you've written 3 books now? This is your third?
This is the second published book.
Second published.
Yeah. So I've been talking to a publisher. I sent a proposal and they said they're going to bring it up to their meeting for a third, but this is the second published.
Awesome. Dude, well, I will be it is Critical Thinking for Medical and Graduate Students. Is that the correct name?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. I will have the link up on the description for this video, and we're going to talk about it more because once I get a copy, I might not read the whole thing, but I'll read a couple chapters and we could discuss what's rattling in my good friend Rufus's head. But it's pretty awesome. I like, it makes me feel famous that I know an author,
And this, I know it sounds technical and very specific, but I actually think, I put a lot of my personal philosophy in there and how I think about the world. So I think I would hope people would find some value in reading that and
if people have been watching the show, they can tell that you're as intelligent you are as interesting. So you have a very fun way of looking at things and describing things.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I think so, and I've known you 20 years now, so just about. But all right, awesome. We'll get back to it again next week, and we'll hear more about this book, and we'll talk about some other good stuff. But I think we had a fun talk tonight. Rufus, anything else you want to finish up with, or are you good to go?
I've blown my...
Oh, God. All right.
I'm done.
Sign for Rufus. This is Alex signing off. Thank you, guys. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the stream, please hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
All right.